Hey, how's it going? I'm Ashley Spartan, and I wanted to talk to you all today about the fundamentals of marksmanship coming from a military background when shooting rifles and pistols, and how that transitions directly over to bow hunting and shooting your bow. So the first thing when building your pyramid of success is going to be your stance. And the reason is because if you have a proper stance, that allows you to do everything else that follows, which I'll discuss shortly. So it's building the best platform you can have to optimize your success rate for that one shot. Once you have a proper stance, understanding that if you're shooting from a saddle, if you're shooting from a ground blind, if you're shooting from a tree stand, you're not always going to be standing like you are at the flat range during the preseason when hopefully you're testing out your bow, you're testing out your arrows, you know you're shooting from 10, 20 out to whatever distance it is. Could be 60, could be 100 for some of you Western guys. Your stance is always going to be the ultimate starting point for your successful shot. After that, we're going to get into breathing. So the breathing is probably the most important aspect of your shot, because in the military, when taking longer distance shots, we're not talking 25 and in or even 100 and in, but we're talking distance shots. You want to ensure that your breathing is nice and slow and controlled if you can get it there. I understand if you've been running or you're stalking an animal, your heart rate's elevated. You want to have that optimal point in time on the exhale where there's a slight pause there where everything is going to get as steady as possible. So you want to think of it as an inhale and an exhale, and on that exhale of right there's a temporary pause where your back isn't moving, your lungs aren't expanding, and you're as motionless as you can be. That's the optimal time you want to take that shot. I understand it's not always going to be that way, but if you can train that way, do it. It will help you be more successful. Next is going to be sight picture and sight alignment. What that means is my sight picture out in front of me, what do I see? I'm aligning my sights with it, whether using 5 pins, single pin, EZV, Trijicon, or whatever optic you're using, or whatever sight you're using. It's all the same. So my sight picture is where I need it to be. And then my sight alignment, meaning on a rifle or a pistol, I'm aligning my rear sights to my front sight. On a bow, it's going to vary based on what you're using. But I want to make sure that that sight picture and sight alignment is ready to go. And then finally, we're getting to the trigger squeeze. I've got a Carter Wise Choice, which is what I use as a thumb release. A lot of people are going to use different ones, but it's all the same because it's the fundamentals. And if your fundamentals are sound and you can default to them, you're always going to set yourself up for success, is that nice, slow trigger squeeze. So what I mean is you don't want to see excessive trigger slap or torquing of it like that. That's a complete exaggeration. It's just a nice, super, super smooth. At that pause in my breath, my stance is proper, and it's a tiny, tiny little movement with zero movement of any of my limb or skeletal structure. Therefore, I'm not torquing my bow, my grip is proper, my sight picture, sight alignment is proper, my stance is proper, and that is the optimal shot that you can take. And that's what makes successful archers and competitive rifle and pistol shooters as good as they are, because they practice those fundamentals over and over and over. So if you continue to do that with your bow, you will be as successful as you can be when you get to that hunt and you get to that final shot. Thank you.